The warm summer air in Dallas carried faint echoes of music from the Rodriguez home, a modest house tucked between two busy streets. Inside, a family of 5, Carlos, his wife Maria, and their 3 children, Sofia, 16, Mateo, 14, and little Isabella, 10, were rehearsing in their living room. The walls, worn from years of laughter and struggle, reverberated with harmonies that were so tight, so pure, that even passers-by slowed down to listen through the open window. For years, music had been their anchor. Carlos, once a local mariachi singer, had given up his dreams when Maria was diagnosed with breast cancer. Bills piled high, and he worked double shifts as a mechanic to keep the family afloat. Maria, though fragile, had encouraged the children to sing, first as a distraction, then as a way of expressing their deepest emotions. "We sing because it heals us," she would whisper, clutching her scarf tightly around her thinning hair. By 2025, Maria was in remission, though still weak. The children had grown into their voices, blending together like a tapestry of light and strength. One evening, as the family sang on their porch, a neighbor, an old friend of Carlos, pulled out his phone and filmed them. The video went viral overnight. Millions watched, crying, commenting, and begging them to audition for America's Got Talent. At first, Carlos hesitated. "We're not professionals. We're just us." But Maria placed her hand gently on his. "You've always dreamed of a stage. Now, let our children help you stand on it again. Do it for them. Do it for us." And so, trembling but determined, the Rodriguez family packed their bags and boarded a bus to Los Angeles, their hearts pounding with both fear and hope. Backstage at AGT 2025, the family huddled together. Bright lights flickered, stagehands rushed by, and nervous contestants paced the floor. Some carried guitars, others balanced dance costumes or magic props. But the Rodriguezes had only themselves, their voices, and their faith in one another. Mateo tugged at his shirt collar, sweat forming on his forehead. "What if my voice cracks? What if I mess it up?" Sofia put an arm around him. "Then we keep singing. No one sings alone here, we're a family." Isabella, the youngest, squeezed her mother's hand tightly. "Mama, will they like us?" Maria knelt down to her daughter's level, her eyes misty. "They will love you, because you will sing with your heart. That is all anyone needs." From behind the curtain, they could hear the roar of the audience as another act ended. Then came the booming voice of Terry Crews. "Next up, a very special family, traveling all the way from Texas, please welcome, the Rodriguez family." The children gasped. Carlos's hands trembled, but he nodded. "This is it. Let's show them who we are." They stepped out into the blinding stage lights. The massive crowd erupted into applause. Simon, Sofia, Howie, and Heidi sat behind the judges' table, curiosity sparking in their eyes. "Tell us your story," Simon said. Carlos cleared his throat, his voice breaking slightly. "We are the Rodriguez family. We've been through some hard times, but music kept us together. Tonight, we just want to share a piece of our hearts with you." The judges exchanged glances, moved by the sincerity in his tone. Then the music track began, a simple piano introduction, and the family closed their eyes, ready to sing. The first note came from Sofia. Clear, rich, and full of emotion, it cut through the silence of the theater. Her voice carried the weight of her teenage years, the maturity of someone who had grown up faster than she should have. Then Mateo joined in, his lower tones weaving around hers like a steady foundation. Isabella's childlike soprano rose above them, innocent yet powerful, sending chills through the audience. Finally, Carlos and Maria entered, their voices seasoned with years of both pain and resilience. Together, the 5 voices merged into a harmony so stunning, so precise, that it felt almost divine. They sang about hope, about family, about holding on when the world tries to break you. Every lyric seemed to paint their journey, the sleepless nights, the hospital visits, the laughter in the kitchen, the prayers whispered before bed. By the time they reached the chorus, the theater was transformed. The audience swayed, many wiping away tears. A woman in the front row clutched her chest. One of the cameramen sniffled behind his lens. Then came the bridge. Isabella stepped forward, her tiny hands clenched, her voice soaring higher than anyone expected. The purity of her sound cracked something open in the crowd. Gasps filled the air. Simon leaned forward, eyes wide, while Heidi covered her mouth with both hands. And as the final harmony rang out, the family holding the note together as though they were holding on to life itself, the audience exploded. The theater shook with applause, cheers, and even stomping feet. The performance ended, but the silence that followed carried its own weight. For a split second, the judges didn't speak, too moved to form words. Then, one by one, they stood. A standing ovation. The family clutched hands, tears streaming down their faces as they bowed. Carlos tried to hold himself together, but when he saw Maria smiling with pride, he broke down. Sofia Vergara's voice was shaky as she finally spoke. "I don't think we've ever seen, or heard, anything like this. You didn't just sing. You gave us your souls." That was a prayer disguised as music. Heidi wiped her eyes. "The way your voices blended, it's not just talent. It's love. And that's why we felt every single note." Howie leaned forward. "What I love most is that you didn't need fancy lights or big production. It was raw. It was real. And it was unforgettable." Then came Simon. He looked at them, long and hard, his usual sharpness softened. "I've been doing this show for a long time. Rarely do I see a performance that feels like a moment in history. Tonight, you didn't just audition. You gave America hope." The audience erupted in cheers again, chanting, "Golden buzzer! Golden buzzer!" Simon glanced at his fellow judges, then at the golden button in front of him. Slowly, with a rare smile forming on his face, he pressed it. Confetti exploded from above, showering the Rodriguez family in shimmering gold. Isabella screamed with joy, jumping up and down. Sofia hugged her mother tightly, while Mateo buried his face in his father's chest, sobbing. Terry Crews rushed onto the stage, lifting Isabella into the air. "The Rodriguez family just got the golden buzzer," he shouted, his voice booming over the deafening cheers. For the Rodriguez family, time stood still. After years of struggle, of sacrifice, of singing just to survive, this was their moment of triumph. Scene 5, Reflections and a New Beginning. Later that night, back in their hotel room, the family sat together, still finding bits of golden confetti in their hair. They replayed the moment over and over, laughing, crying, holding each other tighter than ever. Carlos spoke first, his voice trembling. "I spent years thinking I had to give up my dream. But tonight, I realized, our dream was never lost. It just became something bigger, something we could share together." Maria, her hand resting on his, whispered, "This stage isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new chapter, for our children, for us, for everyone who needs hope." The kids nodded, their eyes glowing with excitement. For the first time, they believed they could stand on any stage, in front of any crowd, and know they belonged. As the city lights sparkled outside, the Rodriguez family sang softly together. No cameras, no judges, no pressure. Just them, their voices, and the love that had carried them this far. And in that moment, it was clear, win or lose, they had already achieved something greater than fame. They had turned their pain into power, their struggles into songs, and their family into a living symphony.